You are listening to the Disney Dreamgirls podcast, an unofficial Disney theme parks podcast, and this is show number 201 for Sunday the 18th of March 2018.
Where dreams begin.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Dreamgirls. My name is Michelle Young, and together with my good friend Jane Phipps, we are your guides to the place where dreams begin. Now don't be shy, all our Dreamgirl listeners. If you want to get in touch, you can email us info@disneydreamgirls.com. You can tweet us @DisDreamGirls. You can follow along the fun on our Facebook page just by searching Disney Dreamgirls and giving it a like. Now we have been having quite a few new iTunes reviews over the last week or so, and I'd just like to spend a moment to say thank you to the people who have taken time out of their busy life to leave us a review. First one on the UK store was from On Hollow Ground. Awesome show. Love your perspective on all things Disney. Aw, thank you. Had another one here. Been enjoying the podcast for the last year or two. Can't fault you guys. Keep up the hard work. Thank you so much. I will be keeping my eye out on those iTunes reviews. Please, if you haven't done already, review us. It makes our show a lot more visible in the iTunes store and also makes Jane and I smile. If you've already written us a review, why don't you go back and update it a little bit? That could also help as well. Anyway, on this week's show, I have a whopping guest for you. We have the amazing Terry Harden coming up in a few moments. I'm doing a little bit of a special thing this show. The entire audio that I recorded with Terry is going to be exclusively available for our Patreon subscribers of $5 or above. So if you'd like to hear that and see the little bits that I chopped out of the interview, you can do so. Find out more on our Patreon page. Before we go on any further and I introduce Terry, let's hear from Kieran with his On This Day in Disney History.
Hello, my lovelies. And yes, yet again, my mother has dragged me out of bed. So I apologise for the really rough vocals at the moment. I'm sorry, I have just woken up, so I apologise. Buy an iPhone, and let's get right started onto this day in Disney history. Now, on this day, on the 18th of March, 1858, Keppel Disney married Mary Richardson. What is the importance? Well, their firstborn child was Elias Disney, the father of Walt Disney. As an interesting aside, if you look inside the Christmas shop inside the Magic Kingdom, by the door in the house has the Keppel name on a wall plaque. Quite the homage, huh? Now forward to 1955, and at 11:15 a.m., a ceremonial groundbreaking took place to mark the construction of the Disneyland Hotel. This was a popular day in Disney history because in 1967, the much-loved New Orleans attraction, Pirates of the Caribbean, opened. On the 19th of March 2001, Barbra Streisand recorded Someday My Prince Will Come for the DVD edition of The Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. On the 20th of March, Disney won 2 Oscars for Song of the South. The first for being the song Zippity Doo Dah, and the second for James Baskett, who became the first male black actor to ever win an Academy Award by receiving an honorary Oscar for his role as Uncle Remus. Many at the time were critical for Baskett for taking the role, but with the support from journalists such as Hedla Hopper, his role was acknowledged by the prestigious award. Another fact was that he was unable to attend the premiere of the film as it debuted in Atlanta, Georgia, and was subject to racial segregation. Sadly, a few months after receiving this award, James Baskett died at the age of 44 due to heart conditions connected to his diabetes. Shame. He was pretty good in the film, to be honest. That was enough for me. I'm going to go back to sleep. Good morning, good night, good evening, whatever the words are, whenever you're watching this. And I'm going to pass this back on to Jane and Michelle. Sorry, I'll see you next time. Remember to buy an iPhone, buy an iWatch, buy an iMac, buy whatever. And yeah, I'll catch you later, pals. Goodbye.
Thanks, Kieran. I'm so glad you didn't make fun of me of having yet another Snow White reference. I'm going to keep it up, you know. Every week I will find some Snow White news on this day in history. let's get on with the main feature. And just a couple of days ago, I managed to catch up with my good friend Terry. So here we go.
Where dreams begin.
Well, hello there, everybody. I am so excited to bring forward my good friend, my wonderful, loveliest lady in the whole wide world, Terry Harden, to come and talk to you on the Disney Dream Girls. Hello, Terry.
Hi, Miss Michelle. Hi, Disney Dream Girls. It's so good to hear from you guys again.
I miss you. I wish we were doing this in person like we did last time.
Me too. Well, I have to tell you that I'm working on seeing if I can. We're going to get to the retreat later, but I'm going to try and see if I can swing through London on my way back from there.
Perfect. We are going to get onto that. I want to tackle this London trip because it's got to happen.
It sure does.
So I know you've been incredibly busy. Last year, when we met up at Christmas, I was able to get hold of my beautiful, much-loved Jiminy Cricket that you created. And now you have a new one coming out very soon. Please tell us all about it.
Well, it's very interesting. All of you that are listening now were very, very helpful in helping me to understand what you want next, what's missing in your collections. And I think the number one thing that I got back from most of you was quality.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the decision to start a new line, as you know, called Impressions. And the latest edition is Baby Groot. You guys all started writing, would you do Groot? Would you do Groot? And I kept saying, don't you have enough? And everyone said, no, I don't want a facsimile of Groot. I want to look at the piece and think Groot. So what a nice compliment from all of you guys. And I put him together and sculpted him up. And Groot is flying off the shelves, which is nice. There's only an edition of 50. And grab them if you want to. About 30 have sold already.
That's amazing that they've gone so quickly. But having seen him, if you are a Marvel Groot type fan, oh my word, it's a must-have because it's a very unusual pose that you've chosen for him.
Yes. Now, what I do with most of these characters, and that's why they're impressions, is to not necessarily lift from the film, but study the character, study the emotional state of the character, the personality of the character, and then put that character in a pose that I think is very, very much in character.
So while we're still mentioning this series, who might be coming up next?
Well, next, and by that, I put that in kind of a bracket because the reason I did Baby Groot is because Baby Groot will go off to one of my painters, and then I have a young man on my team who will help me R&D the Hitchhiking Ghosts. So again, we have, don't you have enough Hitchhiking Ghosts, blah, blah, blah. But we've decided to do something very special with these Hitchhiking Ghosts for this series, and we want to make them illuminate.
Oh my.
So we have to do some research, R&D, research and development on how we're actually going to do that. We need to keep them in the size range that the impressions are. I'm going to sculpt them individually. You will be able to have a figure that's around the size of Jiminy Cricket, but you'll be able to tuck your little ghosts anywhere you want. Because if you think about it, the Hitchhiking Ghosts are free to follow you home, but all three don't follow you home, just one does. Which means they separate from each other. Even though they're together, they do, based on what is said on the attraction, all three don't climb in the Doom Buggy with you, just one.
Absolutely, that's a good point, actually. But there might be collectors out there that has a favourite Hitchhiking Ghost and only wants to buy one of the set.
Absolutely. And that's what we'll do. We'll have a discount if you buy all three, but we'll also allow you to buy just one if you want to. Originally, I thought it might be nice to make them glow, but my colleague here, my teammate in my business said, why don't we make him illuminate? And the one thing that is going to be a challenge for us is he can illuminate, but I want you still to be able to see his detail when he does illuminate. So you can't just make something clear and then turn a light on, because if you've ever seen the little Tinkerbells that they clip to your drinks, they did that about a year back. They're very beautiful, but once the light goes on, you can't see her features. That's just a pet peeve with me as a sculptor. That's where he and I are going to be working. As Groot is being painted, we're going to be working on that. So I'm at my table sculpting the most difficult ghost, which is the tall, thin, lanky one. because we have to make sure that whatever we do, the components need to fit in all three ghosts. So that's kind of the thing you got to think about when you're creating something for people to collect.
Completely. Well, the next project you've got is thinking ahead to September. You are coming over to Disneyland Paris and you are offering a select group of people an opportunity to join you on, all I can say is, the most exciting retreat I have ever heard of. Please, please, please tell us all about it.
Well, thank you so much. This is called the Imagination Paris Retreat. And I wish I could tell you it was my idea. Here's one of the things that I say to people all the time. Don't try and do everything yourself. The one thing about being an Imagineer is the key to being the best Imagineer you can be is collaboration. Collaboration is a joyful experience when you get together with people. And I met two people who are event planners, and they're the ones that designed this retreat for me. And they pitched it to me, and I fell in love with the idea. So right now, it's myself plus 12 people, so it's a baker's dozen.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, we're down to 9. And we're doing 2 days at Disneyland, Paris Disneyland, Disneyland Paris, whatever they're calling it now. We're going to spend 2 days at Disneyland Paris. We're not going to stay on property. One of the reasons we're not going to stay on property is because I want to put all the money that is being paid on this trip, as much as I can, into the experiences that you're going to have. I have a hotel that I love to stay at that's one stop away from Disneyland in Chessé. I'd like to stay there. It's a very lovely hotel, and I look at it this way. How much time am I going to spend in that hotel? You'll have 2 days at Disneyland, at Paris Disneyland, and I will walk you through the rides and attractions that I built as an Imagineer, including the dragon in Dragon's Lair. So I'll introduce you to the dragon, and we'll talk about what it took to do it. Among the stories will be, how in the heck did Disneyland give it to a woman when they don't usually do that? And some people have heard it on podcasts and stuff, but again, you'll be able to interject. It'll be conversational. That's one of the reasons I want it to be an intimate baker's dozen group, because I don't want it to be so big that you don't get the personal touch. We'll have plenty of time to shop. Now, 2 days at Disneyland, and then 3 days, I will shuttle you to the city of Paris, because many people have the attitude that Paris is a place to go through, not stay. And I love Paris. I stay there. I've been there 4 or 5 times, and I like to stay. And the last time I stayed, I spent 2 weeks with my husband, and it was magical. Other things I'm playing around with are visiting Coco Chanel Museum and Yves Saint Laurent Museum, maybe Dali. But we're basically going to take a look at places through an Imagineer and artist's eye. That would be me.
It sounds amazing.
Thank you. We may not get to all of the touristy spots, but this is why you need to come, because I'm going to show you why Paris is such a special place. So that's the idea. One of the things I'm really pushing for is making macaroon. Because we'll go and we'll make them. We won't just eat them. We're going to make and eat them all together. So those are the kind of things that I like to do when I'm up there. These kind of whimsical little fun, playful things, and there's no place better to do that than in Paris.
Sounds fantastic, and I will link into the show notes where you can find out more about this amazing opportunity to go and hang out in Paris with Terry.
What else can I tell you? The price on the brochure or on the flyer is single occupancy. So if you're a couple and you want to go, you're going to save a little money. And if you pay in full, you're going to save a little money. But I basically just want to make it about the experiences that I plan to do that made the city of Paris one of my favorite cities in the world to visit.
Sounds divine. And if it wasn't in my term time, I would be there, my lovely, I am sure.
Oh, well, that's so sweet of you. Now, for those of you who find that you've already scheduled something for September, or it doesn't quite work because it is September, there's another one that I'll be working on it again. This is the inaugural one So this is the one where anyone and everyone who goes on it is going to help me to see what works, and hopefully 90% of it will, and then what didn't. And they'll be able to kind of, we'll all say, okay, this was cool, this was as a group. But then I'll do some other ones, and Michelle will talk so we can find out when would be a time that would work. And let me not forget to tell you that as a bonus for anyone who goes, they will get a limited edition sculpture, and it's going to be Remy in color.
Oh,
And it will be limited to just the baker's dozen. So there will only be 13 made, and that's the edition side. Period. End of story. And it's no extra charge to you. It's a gift for you to have it.
While we're talking about Remy and Ratatouille, I'm going to slightly digress a little bit. Over at Epcot in Walt Disney World, they are getting that attraction.
I hope it's going to be amazing. I want it to be amazing because in Paris, it's a beautiful restaurant. I have to say, one of the best I've ever seen. But the food is terrible. The food is terrible. Except for Ratatouille. It's delicious. But the rest of the food is awful. And if you're going to go to this restaurant, a little piece of advice for your listeners is take the dessert tour. So it's about 60 euros to do the dessert tour, I think, or 50 euros to do the dessert tour. It's going to save you money, and you're not going to be disappointed. You'll get to be in this amazing, cute, sweet, charming genius of a restaurant. Food, I could not get over how terrible the food was. So I'm hoping that Epcot, when they bring it to Epcot, those chefs and kitchen master chefs will make it an experience not to be forgotten, because the food needs to rise up to the look of that restaurant, because people aren't going to miss going to the restaurant. You just don't, it's not to be missed when you're in Paris. You gotta go.
I'm not actually sure if the restaurant is going over to Walt Disney World, to be honest. You've mentioned it. I just think it's the attraction. But now it makes sense, because there's Chef de France and Chez Paul. One of them surely must be made over.
Yeah. I just can't imagine Epcot is, well, of course, when I think of Epcot, I think of food. So you see, I'm a foodie. I love to go to Japan in Epcot and have a plum wine and sushi. And then I love to pop over to France and have croissant and café crème. So I love to bop around in the, world showcase to eat and enjoy, because that's like sampling the world in one stop. Epcot is my favorite park as a result. So see how I automatically went to the restaurant. Of course you got to have the restaurant in there. The ride is spectacular. The ride is great. But the restaurant, I wrote to them and said, that it's embarrassing that the food is like this. You're embarrassed, for goodness sake.
Well, let's keep to the topic of an eatery, or lounge cum eatery. I just feel incredibly honoured that you've invited me a couple of times to come into Club 33 with you, hang out in the lounge, have dinner one evening as well. And there's going to be multiple Club 33 springing up all over the Disney parks. Walt Disney World are getting 4, and there's been little pictures being hinted on the internet where we think that these clubs are going to be. Having been in the original, the best, the one and only, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, it's a very interesting thing that you bring up. I'm excited that there's other Club 33s. However, and I'm not a member, I'm an artist that Club 33 people invite to be a part of their meals and a part of their cocktails in the lounge. So I'm very spoiled, and I'm very grateful for being an artist that people want to have entertain their guests, and they buy me dinner and I tell stories, and it's lovely. And I hope that someone at Walt Disney World will do the same. But to address your question, I think it's a good idea. I think it's a idea that is to be expected, because unfortunately I feel that the powers that be at how do we say this? Mastering the Disney parks are really making it so much about the money that it saddens me. I know you need to make money in order to make a good experience. I get this. But I don't think you should be so obvious that it's about money. Club 33 is springing up, you might think is because they want to create the experience, but they're not really creating an experience for everyone. They're creating an experience for people that have a lot of money. So they're not allowing Club 30, as far as I know, they're not allowing Club 33 members of Disneyland to be grandfathered into Club 33 locations all over at the other Club 33s.
I believe that's to be true as well.
So if that's true, that means you saw this huge, understand that for Club 33 at Disneyland, there was an enormous, and I'm sure still is, an enormous waiting list. So despite how much money it takes to be a member every year, and it's thousands of dollars renewal every year to be a member, to stay a member, it's not like you pay a couple thousand now and you forget and you're in. You pay, easily 5 figures, and then you continue to pay 5 figures every year to stay. So it's, you're up there if you're going to be a member every year. And so not to be grandfathered in, or Disney took a look at that and saw all this money that people wanted to spend to be a part of it. But Club 33 can only be so big at Disneyland. So they came up with this idea of putting them elsewhere, and it works. That's a way for them to get to that cash that they see. How do we get that cash? Well, one way is to build more Club 33s. And it's a great idea. I just wish it wasn't so obvious that the reason you're doing it is because you want to get that money. You want to get at that cash that you're not touching, and that's a little frustrating. And I see it throughout the park. Walt always had sponsors when he did Disney. He had to. He was working on a park that he believed in, and many others were skeptical. So with Small World, Bank of America was the sponsor. But the thing that bothers me is you didn't see across the clock Bank of America's Small World. It's a small world, and when you entered, you had a little sweet sign sponsored by Bank of America, and then when you left, little circles or bubbles that kind of allowed the sponsor to do a talk, but the ride wasn't infested with it. Take that to today at Disneyland, where Starbucks, although Starbucks is in the marketplace on the outside, you still see Starbucks, and to me, that should not be allowed. I'm sorry, should not be allowed, because you're trying to keep the theme of Gibson Girl or Dapper Day down Main Street, and then you see something like that, it just throws you right out. So it's just my opinion, and for those of you who've heard me before, I'm very free with my opinion, so I apologize in advance. No catalytic converter on my mouth, but this is the thing that just frustrates me. And now the rumor mill is, and you guys are so good. I have to say, Disney people are so savvy. It blows me away every time. But the latest thing I've been told is that Star Wars Land will have a separate entrance. They believe is going to happen, and that they're going to ban pass holders for the first 3 months.
What?
This is what's going through. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to do it, but pass holders have been getting beaten up a little bit. They've raised the prices, even though it's still a bargain. It's still quite a big chunk of money in your life. And then they aren't really excited about pass holders. There's not as many events. There's not, and what I'm hearing is that they are thinking about eliminating pass holders altogether. So note to self when you're building a business, don't get too cocky. A Star Wars line is a big one we should live by. We have to remember those who took a hold of us, who lifted us up and believed in us while we were struggling to be what we are becoming. So pass holders kept Disney alive when it wasn't tourist season. Disneyland would struggle during the months when there were no tourists in the beginning. And so the pass holder was designed to help them stay afloat at times when they couldn't necessarily stay afloat. And so now, to what appears to me to be slapping pass holders down because Star Wars Land is coming and they're going to be all that is just a little bit too cocky, because you don't want to abuse those who were in your corner when you were a nobody, just because now you're a somebody. And I know Disney was never really a nobody, but Disney was struggling, as many companies do. And don't think today that it's going to be like today always. Toys R Us.
Mm.
So it's really sad to me. I was hoping, and I hope I'm wrong. Believe me, I hope I'm wrong, that they will have a special pass holder event and invite pass holders to come early to a Star Wars event, and maybe take the very first week to bring all their pass holders in to say thank you for supporting us when we were struggling. And then say, we would appreciate it if you sign up for these pass holders events and then refrain from coming for the next month or whatever. I would say, okay, give us a week or two as pass holders to view it, because there's so many of us, and then say, okay, guys, we'd really like to ask you, because it's really going to be a big wave, if you could try and not come if you're local, because a lot of us are local, not to come for the next month or so. That's fine. Because what they're doing now, if they do what collectors and you fans are telling me, is if you want to see it, you're going to have to pay. And that's just not cool. Sorry. How do you really feel? How do you really feel, Terry?
Yeah, don't mince your words, Terry. But no, that's the good thing, because at the end of the day, if people don't speak up, nothing will ever change, because there's been something over in Walt Disney World with this much adored snack that went, its name changed and taste changed, and anyway, Disney have done some Disney magic and it's back on the menu now.
That's wonderful.
So, your voice is heard.
Yes. Well said. Well said.
The next bit I want to ask you about is you posted earlier today about the Muppets.
Yeah, so rumor mill has it that Disney's going to revisit the Muppets. And right now they're touring London, actually, in a live show. My friend is over there doing that, my friend Bruce. He's over there doing that, and he says when they get back, it looks like they're going to take another crack at it. And I'm going to be working hard to be a part of it. The beautiful thing about the Muppets is, and my personality and my age now, is that I just want to be a part of the team. Again, collaboration. I don't need to be a star. I don't need to be a lead. Just bring me in when you have ensemble and you need someone to move an arm or a leg, and I'll be perfectly happy. A side character, an ensemble character, just because I love the Muppets and have loved the Muppets and I've loved being part of the Muppets. So I want to be sure that when they do it again, that I am part of it. And I'm hoping that they will really, really take into consideration what went wrong with the original Muppet series that they did not too long ago, and think about who they are, who's watching. And they will discover that many are watching who loved it when Jim was alive and are showing it to their kids. So again, we talked about character earlier. You have to be true to character. And in the last series, I thought they made Kermit mean and Miss Piggy heartless, and Fozzie Bear stole. He stole in one of the episodes. He actually stole something. And I just don't think of Fozzie Bear as someone who would steal.
No.
What happens is people fall in love, who love these characters, go, Fozzie Bear would never steal. Kermit would never be mean to Miss Piggy, and Miss Piggy would never be heartless to Kermit. She's self-centered, but she was always self-centered with a heart. And he was never mean to her. He
doted on her completely. He'd never have a bad word to say.
Yeah, so when the series that was canceled, it was because people who loved the Muppets, even if they weren't aware of why they didn't like it, didn't like it. Near the end, the Muppet creators of that series realized that they had gone too far in what I feel was the incorrect direction, and they brought it back. And the last 3 episodes were really lovely, really special. There's one with Joan Jett, if you guys can find it, where Miss Piggy is sort of ridiculed because she has a piggy tail. And it pops out during like an Oscar ceremony. It pops out and they ridicule her. And of course, people get behind her because she's a pig, and why doesn't she show what she's all about? It's a beautiful episode. But if all the episodes had been like that, it'd still be on, because that episode was fantastic. And then there was another one that I did that was also equally as good. So the last three really captured what the Muppets were about. And I think that if they look at those and they say, okay, what are the components that made this good? It'll be the others. So I was really excited to post that today, because I just know there's a lot of people out there that love the Muppets and don't want them to disappear.
Before we wrap up this recording, I remember on one of the times we got together and probably was eating, because we always tend to eat whenever we get together, you was telling me this story. You were puppeteering some chickens and you were told to stay away from the VIPs, the talent. Do you remember the story you were saying? Could you share that with our listeners, because it's such an amazing story?
The inaugural D23 event, the very first D23 event, and over here at in Anaheim when it was launched, they asked me to be a part of a Muppet presentation because Disney had officially announced that they were going to do some Muppet stuff. So for those of you who were there, I was in a big replica of the Mark Twain, and the Muppets love to give me the chickens to operate, because here in California, I am a foster farm chicken. So they find it amusing that I am the chicken lady across the board. Every once in a while, they'll do that. And it's pretty funny. And it's pretty sweet. So there we are behind the scenes. And the powers that be of D23 came back to us and said to us, now, we're going to have a lot of celebrities coming through, and we don't want you, puppeteers, to accost these celebrities as they come through. Well, what was amusing about this is they failed to tell the celebrities not to accost the Muppeteers. So you had people coming back there who were so eager to meet, like Miley Cyrus. She was the first with her band. She comes strolling through the band, and the band and she go nuts. They see us. They see the puppets. They're, can we have a picture? And that was the beginning of the whole time we were there getting ready to perform. We were accosted by, celebrities would run up and want to talk to us, and they would want to know about the Muppets and everything. And that's just really joyful. It just shows the reach of Jim Henson. So it was really funny. And one of the best ones, I have to say, Johnny Depp came running through and high-fived us, because all he did was run, and then he ran across the stage, and then he ran off. I guess he was feeling like if he stood too long in one place, he might not get out. So he ran by and high-fived us. But Nicolas Cage came backstage, and they asked me to put the chickens on, because he had his little boy, and his little boy loved the chickens. So they said, Terry, will you take your chickens? And Nicolas Cage would like his little boy to pose with the picture. So I sat there and posed with the picture, and I looked up at Nicolas Cage and I said, you have one of my sculptures. And Nicolas Cage said, excuse me, what? And I said, yeah, you bought one of my sculptures. I did Chernabog. And he jumped up and said, honey, this is the sculptor that did Chernabog. Oh my God. So it's a little surreal, but it's very exciting when someone gets super excited. They've collected your sculpture, but they never got to meet you. And Chernabog, Nicolas Cage came to Disneyland, saw my art piece, bought it, and put it in his home without ever knowing that it was me who did it. So I was able to tell him, and he jumped up and down and got very, very excited. So we were the catch-all, the visual. Every celebrity wanted to talk to us, and that was just hilarious to see.
How weird that Nicolas Cage is a fan of you. It's just a total head turnaround, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, call your mom or you're going to float up too high. You start to get full of yourself. Call your mom. Your mom will put you in your place. You know what I mean? Oh, yes, you're a wonderful, famous person, Terry. Take out the trash. Get over yourself. So, and that's very important. And just like I said, Disney wants to remove Walt from Walt Disney and call it Disney now. And you can see that in the movies. They call it, Disney Pictures, not Walt Disney Pictures. And that's, again, up to you guys. You guys have a voice. So don't let them do that. But yeah, I don't want to get too big for my britches. And I want to be someone that's approachable and someone that you guys can talk to and know that I'm going to tell you the truth all the time. And before we do sign off, I have a new website going up, terryharden.com. Terryharden.com. If you go there and you click on it, right now it's just a banner because I'm having it built. But if you click on it and you sign up in the email, that will allow me to keep you abreast of everything that's going on. So please join me and put your email in there. And I promise not to inundate you with, I'm lucky if I email anybody. So, but do put it in there so I can start to know who you are and start to chat with you and stuff if you want to be a part of that. And to tell you about an event, I wanted to tell you about this, Michelle, because don't know if you're planning on coming this year, but my first event is going to happen the 19th through the 21st in California. And it is an artistic event. So you'll learn how to be Imagineer, but you'll also learn how to be more creative, to find the creativity in you, to learn to appreciate each day, to basically get me in front of you and feel good for 3 days. And the early bird price is $149 for 3 days.
Wow.
So it's not a lot. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to teach you how to draw like nobody teaches people how to draw. And you won't be judged. So that's the main thing I want people to know is we're going to have some classes where we'll all support each other, where we'll all play in clay. You'll get to play in clay. You'll get to sketch. You'll get to do a lot of things. And it's not a model in front of you, a white piece of paper that will intimidate you. Now draw. I do a whimsical way of doing it that keeps you from worrying about yourself. And it's going to be great, great fun. We're basically just going to get together, have 3 days of play. You'll learn some stuff. You'll be able to say some stuff and meet people who are longing to be artistic, longing to be creative, or those who are will intermingle together, and it's going to be super good fun. So if you're not an artist, if you don't think you're creative, please, please, please consider coming. Everyone in this world has creativity within them. It's just a matter of ferreting it out in an environment where you can feel comfortable. So if you're one of those people who's wondering what happened to that spirit that you had when you were a child, let's explore that together in October from the 19th to the 21st. And again, you can go on the website and sign up for the email, and we will eventually have a page that you can just sign right up for it. But any news you can know. And like I said, the early bird price is $149.
Okay, and which month is this on?
October.
October. Oh my, I'm not going to be in town.
We'll see how this first one, inaugural again. Everything is an experiment with me, and I just jump. If you've seen my Facebook Live page, you know I just jump. People are like, okay, she doesn't know how to do Facebook Live. But we might do two. But the reason I did it this year like that is because you can, if you want to stay and make a trip of it, you can slide right into the pumpkin carving class, which I do the next weekend.
Oh, man.
So there's an ulterior motive there.
Well, all I can say, Terry, is it's great that so many people are getting to be able to be inspired and have their talent exposed and coaxed out of them by you. Because if anyone can do it, lady, it's you.
Well, thank you. And I hope that we can eventually take it to various parts all over the world. So come and do a 3-day in London. I'll start with my hometown, get my feet, and then we'll go from there.
Absolutely. And if when you're in Disneyland Paris, we manage to drag you over to London and it happens to be a weekend, I will be down like a shot and me and you will lunch.
I've got to do a weekend, and I've got to be sure and come. I will definitely keep you posted. All y'all posted.
Absolutely. Please do so, because I know a perfect little place that has a lovely little champagne bar. That's all I'm saying.
Woohoo!
You know, champagne, afternoon tea. We can have a little bit of class at Fortnum and Mason's. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, we can have a champagne talk. Just meet there and chat. That would be lovely.
Okay. Well, I will post on our website all the links where you can get hold of Terry or ourselves to find out anything about these wonderful things that she's been describing. Again, Terry, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It is amazing to chat with you. I hope to see you real soon, my lovely. Take care of yourself.
Okay, you too. Get some rest, my love. You're such a good little hard worker, and you look so cute today. See you soon.
Bye-bye, lovely.